you so much. What I want to highlight here is the function that they've given us to describe Jason jumping off of a cliff. And it's because he's on vacation in Acapulco, not because he's being dumb. Okay, guys? So let's make sure that we know that part. We want to keep in mind that they're giving me this function for a reason. And I'm not allowed to make this harder. H of t is the same thing as h. Now, what do you think h stands for?
Height.
Everybody, what do you think h stands for?
Height.
The height. And what do you think t stands for? So let's rewrite it as just h equals negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 480. Let's just rewrite that right here. Now all I have to do is figure out if this is a description of his motion jumping off of a cliff. All I have to do is figure out, do they want me to find a time or do they want me to find a height? Okay? So here, can you scoot out a little bit so everybody can see? Thank you. So I just got to figure out what they're going to give me and what it is that they're trying to find. Okay? So let's take a look at question A. Destiny, what is this asking me? Wait, stop. What does that say?
How?
Oh, wait, what? How long? How long? I wonder if that's a time or a height. I want to know what they're asking me. Keep going, Destiny. How long? Keep Destiny going. How long did it take? Is that a time or a height? Time. Okay? A time. They want to know a time, not a height. How long did it take? They want to know the time. Everybody with me? Now finish the sentence. I won't cut you off.
How long did it take for Jason to reach his
Maximum height. All right, so that means that if I were to have a picture here, I essentially have this cliff, and boo, Jason's jumping off this cliff. That's what that looks like. Don't let the question trick you. At what point of his jump is Jason at his highest point? That's what they're asking you. So is he at his highest point right here? Right here? How about right here? How about here? How about here? This is his highest point when he's on the cliff. Do you think he's going to go higher, like off the cliff? Right? His highest point is when he's where? On the cliff. Everybody with me? So what's his time? Has he even started yet? So that means that how long did it take for Jason to reach his maximum height? Yeah, how about no time? How about, yeah, nothing. 2 equals 0. Because that's his maximum height. How can he be any higher if he's on the cliff? Who did I lose there? I'll explain it again if I need to. Does everybody see that? He's on the cliff. That's his highest point. He's jumping off a cliff. He's not going to go any higher than that. You with me? Now let's see what the second question is asking. Go ahead, Laura. What does it say?
What was the highest point that Jason reached?
What was the highest point? Are they asking me a height or are they asking me a time? A height. They want to know what the height is when the time is what? 0. Didn't you just tell me the time that he's at the highest is at time 0? So if I want to know how high he is at time 0, what do I do with that 0? Plug it in. So let's do it. Let's plug in 0 right here. Then it's going to tell me how high he was. So instead of t, I'm going to plug in 0, negative 16 times 0, plus 16 times 0, plus 480. Do that on your own. Don't yell it out, and then tell me what you get. Noah, what do you get, babe? Beautiful. He did quick. This is 0, blah, blah. Anything times 0 is boom, gone. So you're just left with 480. 480 feet. Sophia, what's 480 feet? The height of the what? Very good. That means he goes up a cliff and he's starting at 480 feet. Easy? So far, so good? Who did I lose there? Any questions so far? Easy? Are you sure? Explain it one more time. One more time? Sure. So if I haven't even moved yet, I'm at the highest point. If I haven't even moved yet, that's not 1 second later. That's not 2 seconds later. That's 0 seconds. I haven't even jumped off the cliff. So 0 seconds means I'm at the highest point. Now, how high is the highest point? I don't know. I need to plug in 0 because I haven't even moved yet. So I plug in 0 and I see that I'm at 480 feet. If I want to know where I'm at in 1 second, what do I do with that 1? Plug in 1. If I want to know where I'm at 2 seconds later, what do I do with that 2? Plug in 2. If I want to know where I'm at 5 seconds, what do I do with 5? Plug in 5. That's the whole point of this function, to tell me where I'm at t seconds. Good? All right, last question is, Jason hit the water in how many seconds? Jason hit the water. So here he goes. Jumps. This is time 0. Now he's at the water. Now what's 0? The time or the height? Now the height is 0. Y'all see that? This is time 0. Now my height is 0. I'm all the way in the water. Everybody with me? So instead of plugging in 0 for t, now I'm going to plug in 0 for h. Nicely done. So now I'm going to plug in 0 right here. 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 480. And this is why Miss Riad was so annoying about factoring. Look what we have to do. What do we have to do here? Thank you. This is why Miss Riad was like, oh, that's why we did it for so long. So when I get to this point, I can totally do it. No problem. Take out your comp books. We're going to do this part in the composition book. Here we go. This is section 4.5. Deriving. Tonight's homework is page 366. You're going to do number 7 through 12. This is number 1, part C. We have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 480. Off the bat, what can I take out of every term? What divides 16, 16, and 480? 16. So I'm going to take out a negative 16 from everything. That means I'm going to divide all of these bad boys by negative 16 and take it out. I'm going to factor out a negative 16. Who wants to deal with this? Not me. I'm going to take out a negative 16 and I'm going to be left with t squared minus t. Why is this a minus? What is negative 16 times a negative t? Positive 16t squared. And then 480 divided by negative 16? It's not 80. Yep. Positive or negative? Negative 30. And that equals 0. Now I can divide both sides by negative 16. And that guy gets out of the way. So I'm still left with 0 equals t squared minus t minus 30. And this is why you have to be good at factoring. Do that on your own. Factor that for me. What multiplies to negative 30 and adds to negative 1?
6.
6 and what?
5.
Which one's negative?
6.
Beautiful. T minus 6 and t plus 5. Now, this equals 0. All right. Please, please follow me on this. If I have two numbers and they multiply to 0, isn't it true that one of them has to be 0? Think about it. What's the only way to get 0 when you're multiplying by something? Can you do 1 times something and get 0 and that something is not 0? So if I want to get a product to be 0, isn't it true that one of them has to be 0, if not both? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
The only way for two numbers to be multiplied to get 0 is one of them has to be 0. Or both of them. Y'all with me? Okay, so that's why you have to set each one of these equal to 0. Because one of them has to be equal to 0. Y'all with me? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, t minus 6 is equal to 0. And then we're going to say t plus 5 is equal to 0. So you're going to do this on the side like this. because you know those both equal to 0. What happens when you solve for here? When you add 6 to both sides, what do you get for t? Positive 6. And then here you get negative 5. Now only one of these can be an answer. What are we finding right now? What does that t mean? Time. Can you be a negative time? So one of these is mathematically correct, but not realistically correct. Everybody with me? One of these, it is a 0. That means if I were to go back to this picture right here, and I were to redraw and continue on this side, yeah, I would get that negative answer on that side. Y'all with me? But we don't have a negative time. You guys with me on that? So one of my answers is negative, but I can't go back in time to negative 5 seconds. So which one is the real answer, the right answer? 6. So that means Jason hits the water after how many seconds? 6 seconds. So this is t equals 6. Now on your test, you might have both options there. And if you pick both options, that tells me you know how to factor, but it also tells me that you don't understand that time can't be negative. You're just picking it because you feel like you have to be mathematically right. But you got to pull yourself out of that box and say, wait a minute. Can a time be negative? Can a height be negative? Can a weight be negative? Can a length be negative? Right? So you have to pick the positive answer. Any questions on that? So far, so good? All right. Let's take a look at number 2. Read it to yourself, please. Okay, so we're going to forget the fact that there's air resistance, and we're not going to take that into account. There's nothing pushing back our skyrocket. Okay? I have a question. Is your rocket going off a cliff? Where's your rocket starting from this time? The ground. So is your parabola only going to be like halfway like this guy was? Get out of the way. Is it going to be halfway like this guy was? Now we're going to have what kind of a parabola? Where is it starting? On the ground. Are you guys with me? And you're going to shoot the skyrocket up into the air or like down into the floor? Up into the air, and then what's going to happen? It's going to fall down. So you're going to have something like this. That's going to be the motion this time. And they give you the equation at which the motion is happening. Let's go ahead and highlight that. This is the motion of your rocket. How many of you guys were in Mr. Jernigan's class when you guys shoot those rockets? Or is it Jernigan that does that? Pretty sure it's Jernigan. Go? Is it go? Let's read the question. Brooklyn, what does it say?
How long will it take for the rocket to return to the ground?
Mina, what does it say?
How long will it take for the rocket to return to the ground?
Are they asking for time or are they asking for height? How long will it take? Are they asking for height or are they asking for time? Time. So we're not going to plug into time. We don't know the time. But they want to know how long it takes for the rocket to do what? To turn to the ground. So what's the height if I fall back to the ground? You're back to 0, right? Isn't your height 0 on the ground? So if I know my height is 0, what letter is height is 0? What letter is that? H. So I know my height is 0. So that means for this answer, I'm going to go 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 128t. That's not my answer. What am I going to have to do to get my answer? Starts with an F. I'm going to have to factor. Let's go back to our comp book. Here we go. Number 2A. I have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 128t. What can I factor out of these two? Pretend this is a lightning bolt. Remember how we have a lightning bolt? Pretend this is a lightning bolt. And there's something else here, but there's only two. Okay, pretend it's the one side of it. Cesar, don't let me lose you. What can I take out of a negative 16t squared and a positive 128t? Negative 16t. Oh my God, Mr. Riad, this is so annoying. You have to be good at factoring, huh? Yeah. Because this is so easy once you get factoring done. If factoring is still annoying to me, then yeah, this part's going to be annoying. Now, what's left over? T plus 8 minus 8. Okay, so this, remember we said two products have to equal 0? So that means, what do you know about each of the products? What do you know about each one of these? Oh, you're scaring me. If this times this has to equal 0, what do you know about each one? One of them or both of them has to be 0. Yes or no? Okay, so that means I'm going to set this equal to 0. I'm going to set that equal to 0. So negative 16t equals 0. T minus 8 equals 0. Divide both sides by negative 16. I get t equals 0. And I get t equals 8. Daisy, what did we just find? How long it take what? How long it takes for the rocket to hit the back down to the ground? So why is there an answer 0 here? Isn't he on the ground at time 0 too? And then he's on the ground at 8 seconds later. Y'all with me? That's why there's two answers, because he's on the ground twice. You with me? The other one, remember how we had a negative and a positive answer? Literally on the ground twice, but we don't have a negative answer. Y'all with me? Parabolas are going to have those two answers. Sometimes both of them make sense. Sometimes only the positive answer will make sense. You have to be the judge based on the equation that they're giving you, based on the problem they're giving you. I would love to answer a question right now. Ask me a question, please. Even if you think you know, somebody else might have that same question. Go, ask me a question. Yes, babe, go ahead. So if I plug 0 in here, I'm going to get 0. If I plug in 8 in here, I'm going to get 0. Because at time 0, the height is 0. And at time 8, the height is 0. Both of them work. Good job, Cyan. Any questions on number 2? All right, let's take a look at number 4. That is your doyo. Do that with your group. Do number 4. You and a friend are hiking in the mountains. Do that with your group. This is number 4. How do we find the maximum from standard form? How do we get the vertex from standard form? Deshaun, tell me one more time why we don't factor it and find the factors.
Because the factors give us the roots and the values.
Very good. The factors are going to give me the beginning and the end of my parabola. It says, the question asks, what is the maximum? So I have the height is negative 16t squared minus 32t plus 5. If I want to find the vertex from standard form, ladies and gentlemen, the way I find it is I do my negative b over 2 of the a's. And that's going to give me the x value of my vertex. And the reason why I have a comma there is because after I'm done, I'm going to take that answer to find my y value. Don't be scared. We're going to do this together. Remind me, which letter is which? Which one's A, B, or C? This is A, this is B, and this is C. All we got to do is plug it in. What's negative b. So b is already a negative 32. So what's the opposite of that negative 32? So it's 32 over 2 of the a's, which is negative 16. Y'all with me? So that's 32 over negative 32. What's 32 divided by negative 32? Negative 1. That means the vertex is located at negative 1 something. What that something is, I don't know because I have to plug it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in negative 1 into my equation. Please do that on your own and tell me what you get. Plug that into your calculator. Remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you have to square this first, then multiply it by negative 16. You don't get to pick the order, you get to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You gotta do it everybody's way. PEMDAS. You guys get the same answer? Samantha, what'd y'all get? 21? What'd y'all get, Rudy? Sean, what'd you guys get? 21? Brooklyn? All right, 21. That means this 21 is the maximum height of what? Please read the question. What are we asking? What is the maximum height of the grappling hook? 21. So are you guys imagining you're on this ledge and what are you trying to do? Throw the hook to the next thing and you want to make sure it's gonna reach. Well, how far is the next ledge? Will you reach it? Why? What's the highest it can reach? How high is the ledge you're trying to get to? So will it reach?